I honestly don't even know where to begin. My hands are still shaking a bit as I type this. I never thought I'd be one of those people posting here about infidelity, but here I am. Let me start by saying we've been married for 7 years, no kids, just us, our careers, and what I thought was a pretty stable relationship. We had our fights, of course, everyone does, but I always figured we were solid. I worked in IT consulting, often from home, while she worked in marketing for a mid sized firm downtown. Her job had her out a lot more than mine, and I never minded. I liked having my space during the day, and I trusted her. She started using Uber more frequently about a year ago. At first, it was because of the stress of parking downtown, she said. Then it was because the trains were unreliable. I didn't question it. I even thought it was smart. Why stress with driving when you can just relax and be driven? But what stood out in hindsight, it was always the same driver. His name was Ray. I only remember it because she said it so many times. Ray's outside, or Ray had the funniest story today. At first, I didn't think anything of it. Just a friendly guy she saw on her commute, but as the months passed, I started hearing his name more and more, like a lot more. One day she even joked, I spend more time with Ray than with you lately. She laughed. I did too. But something about that joke stuck with me. Then she started dressing a little differently. A little tighter, more makeup for meetings, which were never meetings I could verify or hear about again. She became more distant. Sex was rare. Conversations were brief. She was always on her phone, smiling at messages I never got to see. I didn't want to admit anything was wrong. I chalked it up to stress, to her workload. But the name Ray was always floating around like a bad smell. I started to wonder, what kind of Uber driver texts you memes and sends Spotify playlists? Still, I convinced myself it was all in my head. I trusted her. I had to. That was my first mistake. It started with the little things. She started taking more Ubers than usual, even when I offered to drive her. No, it's fine, she'd say. Ray's already nearby, like she had him on standby. And when she wasn't with him, she was texting. Always texting. Sometimes she'd smile at her phone and quickly lock the screen when I walked into the room. I know how this sounds, like I'm an idiot for not seeing it sooner. And yeah, I feel like one. But when you've built a life with someone, you don't expect them to casually lie to your face over and over again. Anyway, one evening I needed to borrow her phone to call a friend. Mine was dead and I couldn't remember the number. She hesitated, just for a second. It was brief, but it was there. That micro expression, a flash of panic, then a fake smile. Oh, sure, here, she said, but her hand hovered just a little too long before passing it over. I dialed, but I saw it. A notification from Ray popped up. It was a heart emoji and same time tomorrow? I pretended not to see it. I handed the phone back. I went outside and sat on the porch for 20 minutes just staring at the sky. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I just sat there and let it sink in like slow poison. Maybe it was innocent. Maybe it was just him being flirty and her ignoring it. But I wasn't born yesterday. You don't put a sparkle emoji next to your Uber driver's name unless he's more than just your ride. That night, I couldn't sleep. I started scrolling through old photos on my phone of us, vacations, birthdays, her laughing at a dumb joke I made. And now every image had a filter of suspicion over it. Was she already cheating then? Was that smile even real? I didn't confront her, not yet. Instead, I started paying attention. The next day, she left around 8:30 a.m. I watched from the upstairs window, and sure enough, a black sedan pulled up. Ray. I recognized him. I'd seen him once before. Tall guy, mid 30s, flashy sunglasses, way too much swagger of someone whose job was supposed to be driving people around. She got into the front seat, not the back, the front. That was the moment I knew. And that was the moment I decided I wasn't just going to sit and wonder anymore. I was going to find out everything. After seeing her get into the front seat of Ray's car like they were on a date, not a commute, something inside me flipped. My heart was pounding. I felt physically sick, but I forced myself to stay calm. I didn't confront her right away. Instead, I started doing my own investigating. I checked our shared bank account. She'd been pulling out small amounts of cash, $40 here, $60 there, way more frequently than before, and always on the days she took extra long meetings or went out with the girls. But the girls, they never posted photos of her. Not a single tagged pic in over 2 months. I asked one of her friends, casually, if they had fun last weekend at that brunch. She looked confused and said, "Brunch? We haven't seen her in weeks." That night, I waited for her to come home. She walked in around 7 p.m., smiling like she just got a promotion. "Hey, babe," she chirped, kissed me on the cheek, and kicked off her heels. I played dumb. "How was brunch?" She blinked. "What? Brunch? With the girls? You said that's where you were going." There was a pause, a flicker of tension in her eyes. Then she laughed, a fake, forced laugh. "Oh, no, I meant lunch. I said lunch. I went with a client. Sorry, long day." I stared at her. She lied so easily. It scared me how natural it came to her. That was the first confrontation. I didn't push harder, not yet. I didn't want to give her any reason to cover her tracks, but I could feel it. She was lying to my face again and again and acting like I was too stupid to notice. The next morning, I followed her. I told her I had a meeting, kissed her goodbye. Then I waited 5 minutes and got in my car. Ray picked her up again, front seat again. This time, I trailed them. They didn't go downtown. They went to a hotel. Not even a nice one of those side road places with hourly rates and peeling signs. I parked across the street and sat there in silence, gripping the steering wheel like I could snap it in half. They were inside for an hour and 43 minutes. She came out first, fixing her hair, laughing at something he said. He leaned in and kissed her neck before she got in the car again. That was it. I wasn't suspicious anymore. I wasn't anxious or paranoid. I was watching my wife cheat on me, and I was about to lose everything I thought I had. That night, I didn't say a word. I couldn't. I felt hollow, like someone had scooped out my insides and replaced them with ice water. I went through the motions, dinner, small talk, pretending to scroll my phone, while my wife, the woman I married and trusted, sat across from me like nothing happened. She even said, "You've been quiet lately. Everything okay?" The audacity, I wanted to scream. I wanted to flip the table and shout, "I saw you!" But I didn't, not yet. Instead, I asked her again carefully, "Where were you today? You said you had a client lunch." She didn't flinch. "Yeah, I did." "With who?" "Oh, just a couple from the marketing firm, Brent and Jess." "Why?" I stared at her. "And where did you guys eat?" She barely paused. "That little French bistro near Fifth. I forget the name." She didn't just lie, she stacked lies, layered them with casual confidence like she'd been doing it for months, which, in hindsight, she probably had. I nodded. "Cool, must have been nice." She smiled. "Yeah, it was. Why so curious?" I shrugged. "Just wondering why Ray was parked outside that hotel with you for almost 2 hours." She froze. I swear to God, I've never seen someone's face go from composed to "oh shit" that fast, but she recovered just as quickly. "What the hell are you talking about?" She snapped. "I followed you," I said calmly. "Saw you get in the front seat again, saw you go to that cheap motel. I waited, I saw him kiss you after." She stood up instantly. Her chair screeched back. "Are you spying on me now? Jesus, you're sick." She turned the entire thing on me. I was the bad guy now, for following her, for not trusting her, for invading her privacy. "You seriously followed me like some kind of stalker?" she shouted. "Do you hear yourself? You're acting psycho." "Because you're cheating on me." She folded her arms. "I'm not cheating. You misunderstood. Ray had car trouble and we waited for a tow truck at that hotel parking lot. That's it." I stared at her, dumbfounded. "You kissed him." "He kissed me." "I didn't kiss him back." "And what? Now I can't sit in the front seat of a car? Are you insane?" It was like arguing with a tornado. She kept shouting, twisting the story, yelling over me, turning herself into the victim, accusing me of being controlling, paranoid, jealous. "You're smothering me," she screamed. She even cried, actual tears. "I can't believe you don't trust me." She stormed into the bedroom, slammed the door, and locked it. I stood there in the living room, stunned, watching the pieces of my marriage burn while she screamed at me through a closed door like I had done something unforgivable. That night, I slept on the couch, alone. But I didn't feel defeated. No, now I had a plan. After that explosive night, something shifted in me. I wasn't the clueless, loyal husband anymore. I was a man living in enemy territory, sharing a house with a liar, a manipulator, a full-time actress. And if she wanted to play games, fine. I could play smarter. She tried to act normal the next few days, like nothing happened. She'd hum while making coffee, ask if I wanted takeout, tell me about her client calls. The performance was impressive, Oscar-worthy, if I'm honest. But it was fake, all of it. Her affection, her excuses, her smiles, all staged, like a show for one gullible viewer. Except I wasn't gullible anymore. So I did what any man in my position would do. I documented everything. Screenshots of her texts when she left her phone unlocked, bank statements, GPS pings from the hotel, photos of her getting into Ray's car, video clips from my dash cam the day I followed them. I even downloaded an app that let me record phone conversations. Legally, of course, since I live in a one-party consent state. I wasn't just going to confront her again and let her scream over me. I was building a case. Why? Because I'd made a decision. I was going to file for divorce. No begging, no therapy, no working through it. She didn't just cheat. She mocked me, lied to me, gaslit me into questioning my own reality. And I was done. But I didn't want to go out quietly. I wanted her to feel it, to see it coming, and know she couldn't weasel her way out this time. So I started setting the trap. I told her I was going on a business trip next Friday, just one night. She barely looked up from her phone. Cool, I might do a spa day, she said, texting someone. Probably him. Perfect. That was the night I'd come back early. Catch her in the act. No more denials, no more fake tears. She wanted to lie? Fine. Let her lie while I filmed everything. Let her scream when I served her the divorce papers with receipts. Let her crash and burn in her own web. Friday came faster than I expected. She helped me pack for the fake trip, even made a snarky comment. Don't forget your razor. You look like a caveman when you travel. I smiled, kissed her on the cheek. Thanks, babe. By 5 p.m., I left. Drove around for an hour, grabbed a coffee, then parked 2 blocks from our house, engine off, heart racing. At 6:12 p.m., I saw Ray's beat-up Honda pull up to the curb, right on time. She walked out wearing a short black dress, one I hadn't seen in years. The kind she used to wear on our early dates, back when we actually mattered to each other. She wore it for him now. She got into the front seat, of course. She always did. I tailed them again, same distance as last time, but this time, no hotel. They didn't even try to hide. They pulled into a dark parking lot behind a strip mall. Closed shops, no cameras, barely any lighting. I parked across from them, lights off, engine quiet. I turned on the dash cam. I waited. They didn't go inside anywhere. They stayed in the car. For 20 minutes, the car rocked lightly. At one point, the passenger door opened and I saw her foot stick out barefoot as she giggled and pulled it back inside. I couldn't hear them, but I didn't need to. I saw enough. Enough to turn my stomach inside out. Enough to kill every lingering feeling I had for her. Enough to make me hate her. I waited until they were done. Then I drove up slowly and parked right next to them. I wish I could describe her face when she looked out the window and saw me. Eyes wide, pupils dilated, mouth frozen mid-laugh. Her smile snapped off like someone had flipped a switch. Ray panicked, tried to start the car. I got out and tapped on the window. She rolled it down, hands shaking. "Hi," I said, calm as ice. "Having fun?" She started screaming immediately. "Oh my God, what are you doing? You followed me again. You're insane. You need help." Ray was stuttering. "Man, I didn't know she was married. I swear." She slapped him. "Shut up, Ray," then turned back to me. "This is harassment. You're stalking me again. I'm calling the police." I pulled out my phone. "Please do. Let me show them the video." She blinked. "What video? Of you climbing into his lap? Want to see it?" She lunged at the phone. I pulled it back. "I've got more," I said. "Texts, location history, bank statements. You want to keep going?" She got out of the car, barefoot, hair messy, dress twisted, and started shrieking in the parking lot. "You ruined us. You're so obsessed with me. You made this happen." She fell to the ground, full drama mode, sobbing and screaming like someone had run over her cat. People from a nearby takeout place came out to watch. One guy recorded on his phone. Ray peeled away the moment she let go of the door handle. I didn't say anything else, just walked to my car and drove off, and I smiled the entire way home, because tomorrow she'd be served. The next morning was quiet. Too quiet. She didn't come home that night. No texts, no calls, not even a fake excuse. She ghosted her own marriage like it was some awkward Tinder date. Fine by me. At 8:13 a.m., I got a knock at the door. My lawyer's process server stood there, papers in hand, looking like he'd just delivered a pizza. "Is she here?" I nodded toward the driveway. Her car had pulled in a few minutes before. She'd probably crept in through the back door like a raccoon returning after trash night. "She's inside," he smiled. "Let's do this." I stood behind him as he knocked on the bedroom door. She opened it, still in last night's dress, mascara smeared like a discount horror movie villain. She looked at the man, then at the envelope, then at me. You can't be serious. I'm done, I said. The server handed it to her. You've been served. She didn't even take it. It fell to the carpet. She just stood there staring at me like she couldn't believe I had the nerve. You're really going to throw away everything we built? She snapped. What exactly did we build? I asked. Because all I see are ashes. She didn't cry. Not this time. She laughed. A short, cold bark of a laugh. Oh, grow up. It was just a fling, okay? It meant nothing. You're seriously going nuclear over a couple of backseat makeout sessions? I blinked. You cheated, you lied, you gaslit me, and now you're minimizing it? She crossed her arms. Fine, go ahead. Divorce me. But don't expect me to just roll over. You think this is going to be easy? You'll regret this. I stepped forward, calm as ever. I've got everything, Miranda. Proof, evidence, witnesses. Even Ray said he didn't know you were married. Her face twitched at that. You think I won't take half? She hissed. You're not getting a dime more than what's fair. And with the cheating, you'll be lucky if you keep half. She tried slamming the door in my face, but the process server was already gone. She was just performing again. Everything with her was a performance, and I wasn't her audience anymore. Later that day, I moved my essentials to a friend's place. Left her the house, for now. Let her stew in her lies and that fancy hotel perfume she probably wore for him. I was done with her drama. But the fallout? That was just beginning. I thought the hard part was over once the papers were served. Turns out that was just the first grenade. Miranda went full scorched earth. The next day, I started getting texts from mutual friends. Hey man, what's going on? Miranda says you've been abusive? She told us you've been spying on her for months. Are you okay? And then she said you cheated first, that this Ray guy was her way of coping. I sat there reading each lie like a punch to the gut. Abusive? Me? I never even raised my voice around her. I was the guy who apologized for forgetting to put the cap back on the toothpaste. But she was out there rewriting the story, painting herself as some poor, misunderstood wife and me as the villain. Why? Because she knew the truth made her look bad. And Miranda? She couldn't stand looking bad. She even called my mother. I got a voicemail that made my blood pressure spike. Dee, your wife just called me sobbing, saying you're divorcing her out of nowhere. What's going on? She says you've been unstable. I had to sit my mom down and play her the footage, the screenshots, the evidence, everything. Her jaw dropped. She really did all that? I nodded, and now she's turning people against me. Mom didn't say much after that, just hugged me. That meant everything. But I knew I had to do damage control. I reached out to my closest friends, sent them the same proof I showed my lawyer. I told them everything, not to gossip, just to defend myself. Most of them stood by me. Some didn't. I guess they bought her act. That's fine. Let them. But then came the worst part, Ray. He messaged me. Hey man, I know I messed up. I didn't know she was married, I swear. She told me you were her ex, that the divorce was final, but she still lived with you until the house sold. I wanted to rage, to scream at him, but instead I just replied, good luck, man, you're gonna need it. And then I blocked him, because if he thinks his drama is over, he's in for a rude awakening. Miranda wasn't done destroying me yet, but I had more to lose, and she was about to get desperate. 2 days after the paperwork hit her hands, Miranda started spiraling. She texted me at 2:47 a.m., you're seriously going to throw away our marriage over a stupid mistake? Then again at 3:01, fine. You want divorce? Hope your little secret gets out too. What secret? I stared at the message for a long time. At 7:12 a.m., I got an email from HR at my company. Hi, we received an anonymous complaint involving inappropriate behavior from you. We are required to investigate. Please see attached. She actually tried to get me fired. I opened the attachment, a string of screenshots that looked fake as hell, edited messages that made it seem like I was flirting with a client. HR scheduled a meeting. Luckily, I had receipts, real ones. Full email logs, messages from that same client. A married couple I helped 6 months ago, completely professional. I brought everything. HR cleared me within 20 minutes. One of them even whispered as I left, whoever sent that must really hate you. I knew who it was. She was trying to ruin my job, my income, my life. I texted her, "Keep digging that hole. You'll be in court soon enough." She replied with one word, "Prove it." See, Miranda always thought she was smarter than everyone else. Smarter than me. Smarter than lawyers. Smarter than the truth. So I let her keep going. That week, she logged into my Netflix account and changed the profile names to Cheater and Liar. Canceled my Amazon Prime subscription, tried get into my bank account, which alerted me immediately. Showed up at my friend's place screaming on the lawn like a banshee, claiming I had kidnapped her cat. Her cat, spoiler, the cat was asleep in her closet. But the final straw? She showed up at my workplace in person, crying in the lobby, saying I abandoned her and she needed help. Security had to escort her out. My boss pulled me aside afterward and said, "Dude, is this safe? Do you need a restraining order?" I said, "Maybe. We're getting there." Because the more unhinged she became, the more leverage I had, and she didn't even realize it. Yet. At this point, Miranda was unraveling faster than a cheap sweater in a barbed wire dryer. But I wasn't just sitting back anymore. I was building my case. Screenshots, voicemails, security footage from my job, a full incident report from HR, witness statements from friends who saw her screaming at me in public, lying to them, trying to spin everything upside down. And my lawyer? He was loving it. "We're shifting to full fault-based divorce," he said. "Infidelity, defamation, harassment. We're going to bury her in this." Good. Because for once, I wasn't reacting anymore. I was planning. Then came the twist. I found out she'd opened a credit card in my name 6 months ago. I got a collections letter out of nowhere. $2,438 in charges. All food delivery, Uber rides, beauty appointments, and yes, gifts for Ray. I almost laughed. I filed a police report for identity theft the same day. She was too sloppy, too reckless. She thought she was invincible. She wasn't. I froze the card, called the creditor, gave them everything. Boom, another nail in her legal coffin. And then she tried to apologize. She showed up at my temporary place, standing on the porch with a bottle of wine, full makeup, crocodile tears, whispering, "Let's just talk, please. I miss you." I didn't even open the screen door. "You miss what you used to get away with," I said. "Not me." "You're being dramatic," she sniffed. "We had something real. You can't just erase that." "You erased it the day you got in his car." She changed in an instant, from sweet to sneering. "You're going to end up alone, you know that? No one else is going to love you like I did." I smiled. "That's the goal." And I shut the door in her face. She screamed something about lawyers and my half, but her voice faded as she stormed off. Funny thing about leverage, once you have it, people start slipping on their own. And Miranda? She was sliding fast. The court date finally arrived. I showed up with my lawyer, calm, collected, folders full of evidence like a walking courtroom grenade. Miranda? She showed up 30 minutes late, in sunglasses and heels, acting like it was a red carpet event. She brought a new lawyer, not the one she had before. Apparently, he dropped her after she forgot to pay him. Classic. She didn't even look at me when she walked in. But her performance began the second we were called in. She cried. She sniffled. She told the judge I was cold, emotionally distant, borderline abusive. Said I didn't support her career. What career? She hadn't held a real job in 2 years. She blamed everything on me. Then my lawyer stood up, quiet, deadly. He presented photos of her and Ray in the Uber, time-stamped, dated, geotagged. Screenshots of their flirty texts, including the infamous "can't wait to see you again today," sent at 7 a.m. The fake HR report she sent to my job. The credit card she opened in my name. Her screaming on my porch, captured by my doorbell cam. And a lovely statement from my neighbor who witnessed her try to scratch my car with her keys. Miranda's face went white. Her lawyer looked like he wanted to quit on the spot. The judge paused, looked at Miranda, and then said, with this calm disappointment, "Mrs. Walker, this is a troubling pattern of behavior. You may wish to consider settling before this escalates." She lost it. "I'm not the bad guy here. He's manipulating you. This is all fake." The judge shut it down immediately. Contempt warning. She backed off. Barely. But that was it. Her mask had slipped, and everyone saw it. My lawyer leaned over and whispered, "We've got her by the throat. Don't flinch." I didn't. We asked for everything. 100% of the house, financial compensation for the identity theft, and full legal fees. and we were likely to get it. Miranda was cornered. She knew it, I knew it, and when court adjourned that day, she didn't say a word to me. She just walked out. No more lies, no more pretending. She had finally met a problem she couldn't manipulate her way out of. 2 days after court, I got a surprise text, not from Miranda. Yep, the Ray, the Uber clown turned homewrecker. Hey man, I didn't know all that stuff was going on. I'm out. I stared at it for a full minute. No apology, no real explanation, just I'm out. Curious, I tapped his name and checked his social profiles. Gone. Deleted. Dude had disappeared off the face of the earth. No more Uber activity either. Turns out once Miranda's crazy wasn't just sexy chaos and actually had legal consequences, Ray bailed like a roach under a flashlight. Guess the thrill wasn't worth the restraining orders. I didn't respond. But apparently, Ray's Houdini act lit a fire under Miranda because the next day, I got blown up with calls, blocked numbers, voicemails, emails titled, "Please read." Then came the knock at my door, loud, repeated. I looked through the peephole. There she was, in a hoodie, hair a mess, mascara down to her chin. She was sobbing, barely coherent. He left me. He said I'm too much, that I need therapy. Can you believe that? Yes, Miranda, we all believe that. You were right, okay? You were right. I messed up. I was stupid. I miss us. Please, just please. I opened the door halfway. Is this the part where I'm supposed to forget everything? She stepped forward like she thought I was caving, like she could still win, but I didn't budge. I filed a restraining order yesterday, I said. You'll be served by the end of the week. Her face broke. You're serious? Completely. I have nothing, she said, her voice cracking. I lost everything. I need you. You had me, I cut in, and you chose an Uber driver named Ray. That shut her up. She stood there trembling. Then, true to form, she switched gears like the professional manipulator she was. You'll regret this. One day, you'll remember what we had. I already do. That's why I'm doing this. And I shut the door. Again. Behind it, I heard her cry for a bit, then silence, then footsteps fading away, and I stood there, feeling absolutely nothing. She was gone. And this time, she wasn't coming back. The silence after Miranda left my porch was deafening, but it wasn't the uncomfortable kind. It was peace. No screaming, no gaslighting, no guilt-tripping texts, just quiet. For the first time in years, I woke up the next morning without dread sitting on my chest. No checking my phone, bracing for drama. No mentally preparing to walk on eggshells. Just coffee. A sunrise, and the knowledge that she was finally out of my life. The restraining order was served 2 days later. She tried to call one last time, blocked, of course, then sent a long-winded email full of delusions and fake apologies. I didn't respond. My lawyer advised me to keep everything documented in case she spiraled again, but I had a feeling she wouldn't. Not because she was sorry, because she was embarrassed. Word had gotten out. Friends who used to believe her lies finally saw the real her in court. Even her own sister messaged me and said, "I'm sorry, I had no idea it was this bad. She always played the victim." Yeah, that was her greatest talent, playing innocent while setting fire to everything behind her. I started seeing a therapist, not because I was broken, but because I didn't want to carry the poison of that relationship into whatever came next. And let me tell you, unpacking the manipulation, the control, the emotional minefields she set up daily, it was like untangling a fishing net tied in rage. But every session helped. I started running again. I reconnected with old friends, even visited my brother in another state. First time in years, I was living again. And the craziest part, I didn't even realize how small my life had become until she was gone. She shrunk my world to fit her chaos, and now that she was out of it, it felt limitless. I wasn't just healing, I was rebuilding. A few weeks after the restraining order was served, I got a letter in the mail. Brown envelope, legal seal, final divorce decree. It was done. Miranda hadn't contested any of it. She didn't want to step back into that courtroom, not after the public humiliation she'd suffered, not after Ray ghosted her, not after every lie crumbled under the weight of her own ego. The judge ruled in my favor. I kept the house. She had to pay partial restitution for the stolen credit card, small amount but symbolic. I wasn't on the hook for a cent of her debt. I even kept the damn dog. Not that she cared. She never liked him anyway. It was surreal to be free, to be whole again. No drama, no dragging things out. She was legally out of my life. A few friends wanted to throw me a divorce party, honestly, the kind of thing I would have laughed at before, but now I understood. It wasn't a celebration of the end of love. It was a celebration of the end of being lied to, manipulated, used, and drained. It was closure. It was peace. I didn't throw a party, but I did something better. I booked a solo trip. Small cabin, up north, woods, lake, no Wi Fi, just me. I brought my dog, a stack of books, and a lot of silence. And for a full week, I remembered who I was before Miranda had walked into my life and tried to burn it to the ground. Before the gaslighting, before the cheating, before the tears that were more performance than pain. And somewhere in that stillness, I smiled for real again. It's been 6 months since the divorce was finalized. Miranda never reached out again. No texts, no calls, no flying monkeys sent to stir the pot. She vanished, just like Ray. I don't know where she is now. I don't care. The peace I've gained since letting her go is worth more than any closure she could have offered. People ask me how I didn't see it sooner. The lying, the cheating, the manipulation. Truth is, I did see parts of it. I just kept giving her the benefit of the doubt. I kept making excuses for her because the alternative, admitting that someone I loved didn't love me back, was too painful to face. But here's what I've learned. 1. If your gut keeps whispering, something's off. Listen. 2. If someone accuses you of being too sensitive, every time you bring up your feelings, they're probably trying to silence your instincts. Love isn't supposed to feel like a constant tightrope walk. You shouldn't have to earn peace. And most importantly, 4. If someone cheats, lies, gaslights, and disrespects you, they're not lost. They're not damaged. They're just choosing themselves over and over, and they always will. You can't fix someone like that. You can only choose to stop letting them break you. To anyone reading this who's going through something similar, trust me, getting out feels impossible until you're out. Then you'll wonder why you stayed so long. I'm happier now, lighter, clearer. And when I eventually meet someone new, I won't carry Miranda's ghost into that relationship because I left her behind in the rearview mirror of a taxi driven by a guy named Ray, where she belongs.